back to A Promenade Through Bordeaux. My name is Hella Mansour, your accredited guide. Before I start, I would like to extend a warm welcome to my Francophone listeners who are taking this opportunity to be guided in English. Merci. Today, we'll take you back to the Romans. But before the Romans were the Gauls. Before the Gauls were the Celts. And before the Celts, there was prehistory. Not far from Bordeaux, in an area called Père-non-Père, we found evidence of cave engravings dating back to the Cro-Magnon man 35,000 years ago, making them 10,000 years older than the very famous caves of Lascaux. But the Celts settled in Bordeaux in 700 BCE, followed by the Gauls. Now, the Gauls came to Bordeaux in 300 BCE, and they gave the city the name Burdigala. Burdigala meaning the city built on marshes. Now, the Roman takeover was rather easy because there was no resistance by the Gauls. To the contrary, simply because the Romans and the Gauls were already trading in this area. So it was an easy takeover. The Romans did bring the first vine stocks to Bordeaux, but we may thank modern-day Albania because they were transported from the Hellenistic Empire to be planted in Bordeaux. And the first grape varietal was an ancestor of Cabernet Franc called the Biturica. Now, the Romans weren't here just to spread the vines in the vineyards, but they were here to take tin from England, mix it with copper from Spain to make bronze. And that's how the city flourished. They built their typical north-south, east-western roads, and they also had a Roman forum that we can see here, and a Roman temple where today's Grand Theatre stands. And not far from the Place de la Comédie, which was where the Roman forum was an amphitheater that could take up to 15,000 people at the time when the population was only 25,000 people, so more than half of the population could remain seated within the amphitheater and watch the games. The fall of the Roman Empire comes, and so do attacks by the Vandals and the Visigoths in the year 300. The city built its first defensive wall, protecting its citizens and the vines. Then the city falls in what we know to be the Dark Ages, from the years 400 to 800 AD. We don't know much about the city, but thanks to the monks within the monasteries, they open up the city because we are on the Camino, or on the way of St. James, and the monks would wine and dine the pilgrims on their way to Santiago de Compostela.